Good afternoon and welcome to The Knit Shift. My name is Laura and today is Monday, September 24th, 2018, and this is episode 111. Thank you so much for joining me today, whether it is your first visit to The Knit Shift or you have been a longtime viewer. It's been a while, so in case you're new here or you forget who I am, like I said, I'm Laura. I'm a journalist who lives in the DC suburbs with my boyfriend Josh, our dog Gracie, and a whole lot of yarn. This is a podcast where I talk about what I'm up to in terms of the knitting and crochet aspects of my life. I talk a little bit about work here and there. I work at the Washington Post, and I'm a copy editor, so I work kind of behind the scenes there. I talk about skincare, makeup here and there, and I do have a little bit of that kind of chat to talk with you guys about today. So I'm really sorry. I was gone for about at least 6 weeks. I don't know the exact amount of time. Life gets in the way sometimes. I had a family emergency. Work has been, you know, every work week. When you work in the news business in Washington, D.C., every week is a crazy week. So I really appreciate your patience with me in waiting until I was in a position to film. So I do have a bit more knitting and crochet content for you today. But yeah, so show notes can be found at theknitshift.com. This episode is available on iTunes and YouTube, and it will only be available on YouTube starting probably sometime in the new year, probably February or so. I just can't justify the cost of storage to use iTunes anymore. It's several $100s a year. I was willing to pay it for a few years, but I really just can't justify spending it anymore. So I know that iTunes is the preferable option for many people for whom they have dial-up or broadband. You know, they might not have really high-speed internet, and I apologize for that. I hope you're able to find a solution that works for you to watch YouTube, but this is just in my own financial interest, and thank you for understanding. We have a knit along going on right now in, oh, I didn't finish telling you about where you can find me on the web. I'm on Instagram as Laura Michalski. I am on Ravelry as Yarnstormer, and we do have a group for the podcast. If you search for The Knit Shift, you will find us. We have a chatter thread going on for our current knit along, the Finish That Sweater knit along. It was gonna go until October 1st. I'm choosing to extend it until November 1st. At minimum, who knows, we'll see if it just keeps renewing like a library book that you want to hold on to. So if you're going to Rhinebeck, you still have a chance to finish that sweater. I will not be at Rhinebeck this year, unfortunately. I went last year and it was amazing, but I will not be there this year. So if you're going to Rhinebeck, you can still have time to finish a sweater and it'll be part of the knit along. There will be a prize. I have some goodies in my, my yarn shelf system is this black thing right behind me, and I will be choosing some goodies from my prize drawer to send out to someone from the thread, so stay tuned for that. I have not been working on my sweater for the knit along. I started the knit along and I have barely touched the sweater, mostly because I've been working on some deadline gifts and I'm still not done with them. I finished one, which I'll show you today, but I have not finished the other, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, I think that's it for administrative stuff. Let's get to the knitting content. So I have 2 FOs to share with you this week. One is a pair of socks. This was about halfway done. I can't even pretend that I know exactly where projects were when you last chatted with me. But I finished another pair of socks. These were socks that I brought on my commute on the train to work. And these are my Holy socks. These are Sunrise Fiber Company indelible sock, which I believe is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. The colorway is Holy, like the Indian festival, and it's just a lovely variegated shade. I hope the lighting looks good to you guys. We are having a really gray, rainy day. This is at least the 2nd in a row, so my lighting is a bit more artificial today, but it looks pretty good on my little camera. So I'm not sure what number pair this is for the year. 5, 6, somewhere around there. Might be, no, it's actually, I think it's closer to 7 or 8. I've knit more socks than I give myself credit for. So those were a really fun pair of socks to knit on the train. The other thing I have to share with you is a baby sweater that I made for a friend who had a baby girl 10 days ago. Baby girl is 10 days old. Her name is Ellen, and E-L-I-N, like the Swedish spelling. It's a beautiful name for a beautiful girl. She's one of my dear friends here in Northern Virginia, and I knit something when she had her son a few years ago, so I knew I really wanted to knit something for her daughter as well. So I went to deep stash for this. This yarn was in my stash for about, I got it in 2006 or 2007 from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Let me adjust my camera a little bit here. So this is the classic baby, oh, I should button it first to show you guys. This is the Baby Surprise Jacket by Elizabeth Zimmerman. And I've knit this. This is at least my third or fourth iteration of this sweater. I'm only gonna button the top two. This is Socks That Rock, medium weight, in the colorway Oregon Red Clover Honey. It's a beautiful pumpkin-y shade. I thought she was gonna be a late September baby, but Ellen had she decided she wanted to be early to the party, so she is here now, and she came 3 weeks early. She's a little bit of a peanut, but she's very healthy. Mom's healthy, so this sweater is definitely more like a 6-month size, I think. I think she'll be swimming in it for the time being, but if you're unfamiliar with this pattern, this is an Elizabeth Zimmerman classic. You knit it flat and then you seam it. You kind of do a little bit of sweater origami. So the top of the sleeves are seamed. Let's see if it'll focus. So the seam runs along here. I'm pretty happy with my whip stitching. And then I used some buttons that I had in my, no, I bought these. Actually, I bought these with the mom. We went to a local fabric store and I did a little button stash enhancement. And I really love these green buttons. So it's still wet, it's still drying actually, but I'm really happy with this. This is such a classic baby knit. I really wanna knit another one with like lots of little tiny scraps and have it be really colorful and crazy. So I've not had an FO that wasn't a pair of socks in months. I don't even know if I've had a non-sock FO this year. I'd have to look at my Ravelry page to be sure. But I've been very much on a sock kick because that's what I take on the train to commute. And it felt really good to finish this baby sweater, you guys. I can't lie. I really, really am happy with it. So that is it for my FOs today. Also, I should mention this Socks That Rock medium weight. It's kind of more of a sport weight, so that's why it did come out a bit bigger. The default Elizabeth Zimmerman is supposed to come out for a newborn size, so it's a little big, but hopefully Ellen can wear it, you know, maybe December, January, February, somewhere in there. So yeah, my next projects to share with you, I think I have 2 works in progress to share. I'll show you the main thing I've been working on. Because it was really hot for quite a bit of August, and so instead of taking the metro to work, I drove a lot because I did not want to have to walk to the train in 110-degree heat index. It's just, you'd melt, and then you get to work and you're all gross. So I drove a lot, so my sock knitting time has been a little bit abated, but I'm happy to say the weather is getting cooler. I plan on metroing more in the coming months. I mean, I just love taking the train. It's relaxing, it's quiet, and I like getting to knit and not having to drive. Even though the train does take a little bit longer than driving, I don't mind because I get to knit on the way. So thus therein ends my defense of train knitting. So let me just show you the train knitting first, since I'm on the subject. I'm carrying this around in my Bink waffle bag with the button that says "Through with People." The bag did not come with this button, but I put it on here and I love it. Oops, it's upside down. There we go. And it's a nice little reversible sock sack. So I am partway through the second sock right now. I'll show you the first. This is knit from a sock blank. I have not knit from a sock blank in a while. This is only my second pair of sock blank socks. So here we go. It's purples and whites and pinks, and then there are these little blips of color, and I'll show you the sock blank. And if you're unfamiliar with the sock blank, it's basically a piece of knitted fabric that you knit directly from. So here is what the blank looks like. So all those little blips of color in the sock are the stars. So that's what it looks like. Pretty cool, right? So I have this much left of the blank, and I am about 2/3 of the way up the foot of sock number 2. This is my general toe up sock recipe. I cast on about 36, increased every 3rd round until I hit 72 stitches total. This is a rather thin sock yarn, and I'm using size 0 needles. These are ChiaoGoo's. They are my favorite for socks, and I'm just keeping on. And I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel on the first sock. Didn't make the leg super long. I was kind of eager to be done with it, but I did do a nice generous cuff of like 30 rounds. And then I did Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off and bound off. So I would love to finish these up in the next 2 weeks because I have a little bit of travel coming up later in October, and I would love to have a new pair of socks on the needles then. So we'll see if I can meet that goal. So I have my major whip that I've been working on for the past 6 weeks has been a gift for my friend Emily for her wedding. Emily is getting married in mid-October in Michigan. The gift is not flying to Michigan because I work with Emily at the Post, and I don't want to fly with a finished blanket because it's a crochet blanket. I'm not going to fly a wedding gift to Michigan so that they can bring it back to their apartment on Capitol Hill. That's not going to happen. I'm just going to give it to her at work, and it'll be very unceremonial, which is perfectly fine. But I have been working on this off and on since April. I tore it out and started fresh. I'm gonna back up because it requires a little bit of maneuvering because it is so big now. So let's see. So I started down here. I'm trying to make this what I'm calling snuggle sized because 2 people fit under it if you're snuggling. It's a little bit of a squeeze. You know, if you're just laying, you know, flat on your back like a mannequin side by side, it's a little not quite as coverage. So here it is from one end to the other. You can see it's pretty generous. So I've done gray, white. Oh, this is the upside down end. So the pattern is basically gray, white, yellow. So gray, white, yellow. And now I'm on gray, white. So I'm hoping to finish this section of white. I'm halfway through it. And I'm hoping to finish the yellow and start the next gray by tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. It's a 3-day weekend for me, and I'm off for Labor Day. It's my comp day for Labor Day since Labor Day fell on my day off. So literally all I'm gonna do tomorrow is crochet on this puppy. I am not optimistic that I'll have it done in time for the wedding. I know they won't mind if it's a little bit late, but I'd like to do my best to try and get it done. So this is a crochet ripple pattern from a Jan Eaton book called 200 Ripple Patterns. It's got crochet and knit stitches. I'm using a USH 5mm Susan Bates hook, pretty classic standard $3 get it at Michael's hook. And I'm using Caron Simply Soft. Oh, I didn't tell you that, as usual, I'm so out of practice, I didn't tell you the name of the sock blank maker. It's Gale's Art Yarn. This is Caron Simply Soft. It's an acrylic blend. If I'm gonna crochet a blanket for a gift, I'm gonna make it an acrylic blend so that it's washable and easy to care for. So, so yeah, this is definitely taking up the most of my time lately. I'm enjoying it, but I'm ready to be done with it, to be perfectly honest. I'm kind of ready to be done with it. And if I stand up, I'll show you how long it is. So it's just hitting the floor and it's almost at my chest. So I'm more than halfway done, but I'd say I'm not quite 2/3 of the way there. Maybe I'm 60% done. So I'm hoping I can get away with, so I'm on white and then yellow will finish 2 repeats. I might do a 3rd repeat and call it a day. And that would be pretty generous. So I'm halfway through white, so I have half a section of white, then yellow, and then gray, white, yellow. That would be super tall, so we'll see. Hi, Emily, the bride has no idea that I'm making this. I very sneakily asked her the colors of her bedroom, so I'm very excited to give it to her. let's see. I have 14 minutes left on my laundry, so I'm gonna try and wrap this episode up by then. I don't think I'll be successful, but we'll see. So that is it for my knitting. I do have a little bit of skincare stuff to share with you at the end, but I'll tell you where I've been for the past 6 weeks. So hang tight, stay tuned, and we will talk about that. So I last spoke with you guys in late July, so it's been over a month. Since then, I had a really nice weekend away in Winchester, Virginia with my cousins, most of my female cousins. Those of you who have watched the podcast for a while might remember that my grandma Mary died a year ago in early September. September 5th, 2017 is when she passed. And we had such a nice time catching up at the funeral that I said to some of my cousins, why don't we try and plan a girls trip, you know, and kind of just get together? I think that would be really fun, and everyone was super on board with it. So I did all the planning. I found a beautiful cabin that slept like 10 to 12 people in the Winchester, Virginia area. It's kind of centrally located because a lot of my family's in Pittsburgh, some are in Georgia, one cousin's in Boston, so we're kind of coming from all over. So yeah, so we had, I think, 11 of us in all, two girls, sisters from Philly, 4 girls from Pittsburgh, and this was female cousins and spouses, female spouses of cousins as well. So it was a really nice time. I got a ton of work done on this blanket actually at the house. We did crafty things. There was tie-dyeing. We went swimming at a lake. It was just really, really nice and relaxing, just kind of what I needed. I also got to see Hamilton for a second time. I saw it with my mom in late June, and I loved it so much that I decided to pull the trigger and see it another time before it was gone from the Kennedy Center. And it was a real treat to get to do that. I ended up going on August 14th, which was my 1-year anniversary of my time at the Post, my first day at the Post. So that was like the most amazing way to mark a year since I joined, because it's been an amazing year and I'm really happy to be here. I loved it. The woman who plays Eliza in this tour, her name is Julia Harriman, and she has since left the show. When it moved to Boston, I think she has a new show coming up or something, is the impression I get, or maybe she's going to Broadway, I don't know. But she was just tremendous. She was so talented, and I'm obsessed with her music now, so Julia Harriman, look her up if you're interested. So it's been, and then, you know, as for the not as fun things, so I wasn't in one of the reasons I didn't podcast for a while was my family was dealing with quite a loss. My sister-in-law's father passed away. He had a very aggressive type of cancer, and he died in late August, and that was really hard. So I just, for a really long time, I wasn't feeling up to podcasting, and that was one of the reasons why. And then 2 weeks ago, I was probably gonna podcast that weekend, and without getting into too many details, because I don't wanna, it's my dad's, it involves my dad. My dad is fine, but he had some scheduled surgery and it went fine, and then the next day, he came home that night, and then the next day he had a huge medical emergency and almost died. He had emergency surgery. He was in the ICU for a couple days, sedated while he healed, and it was very scary. Like, I don't know that I can talk about it without getting too emotional, but he's home, he's recovering, he'll be fine. We are so fortunate. But 2 weeks ago on Saturday, 2 weeks from this past Saturday, I drove to Ohio where he and my mom live, because that was the morning he had the emergency surgery and was in ICU. So that was just the toughest day. I mean, it took me about 8 to 9 hours. Even I tried to barely stop, but I just wanted to get to the Dayton area where he was. And it was raining, and it was a horrible drive, and I didn't want to eat, and I would stop for lunch, and then I ate 2 bites of my food, and I was like, screw it, I don't care, I just want to drive. So I stayed for a little over a week. My dad got out of ICU after a couple days, and then he came home a couple days after that, and he's doing great. He is healing and recuperating and resting, and we're so thankful and happy that things went the way they did, because it could have been really, really bad. So so I came home a week ago yesterday. I drove back home. It was a much better drive coming home. It took longer because I felt like I could stop more, but it was just it's been quite a tumultuous time. I mean, I felt like I didn't sleep much for about a week, and then I came home, and the night I drove home, I slept like 9-10 hours in my own bed that night. I was so glad to be home and so exhausted. So it's been quite a time. If you follow me on Instagram at Laura Michalski, you will have seen, I basically said what I said there is what I'm saying here. I'm not sharing much more in any other venue, but it was a really traumatic week, and I feel like I'm still kind of processing and dealing with all of that, and I'm just so glad that I could go and be there and help my mom and be there for my dad, and I hope it's not a process I ever have to repeat in my life, because it was awful. It was so awful. So I'm gonna get emotional if I keep talking about it, so I'm not gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna pivot. There's no easy transition to pivot away from talking about your dad almost dying to talk about skincare, but screw it. That's the transition I'm giving you. So that's about everything I've been up to over the past month and a half. I'm so glad to be back and talking with you guys today. I really did miss it. I feel like my knitting mojo has been a little thin this year. I love my new job so much, but even though I don't have the responsibilities, the sheer volume of responsibilities that I had at my old job in Norfolk, I feel the responsibilities of this job a lot more, because it's a bigger news organization and the stories are so much more, they're much more important. You know, it's a really national news organization, so there's a bigger audience, and I feel the weight of that, and the news cycle is just so bonkers that I'm not finding as much time to knit. I'm trying to just kind of go to the gym in the mornings and, you know, take care of myself. You know, after work I just come home and I go to bed because it's late at night, and I'm not knitting as much as I have in the past, and it kind of makes me sad. No, it definitely makes me sad. I miss it, but I just haven't had a huge desire to knit. So I'm hoping once I finish this crochet project, and you guys know I love crazy colors, because knitting a gray and white blanket, or sorry, crocheting a gray and white blanket with just a pop of yellow, that's not my jam. I would much rather have like a super crazy blanket to crochet, even if it's like an ugly finished object. But I digress. So let's talk about skincare. So this might have been like a small factor about why I stayed away. It's a completely superficial one, but it's my podcast, so I can say why I didn't or wanted to record. But I had some really bad acne after years of not really having breakouts. I had quite a breakout on my chin. Probably stress because of stuff going on with, like I mentioned, the death in our family. This was well before my dad's situation a couple weeks ago, so it's not that, but it was just maybe just stress, you know, whatever. But I went to see a dermatologist and got on some medicine and some creams, ointments, and my chin is a lot better now. I'm not wearing any makeup, but I feel really happy and more confident in my skin again. I'm feeling a lot better, basically. So I took advantage of the Sephora Friends and Family, or not Friends and Family, it's the VIP sale. I am a Sephora Rewards member. Basically, it's free to sign up, and you get a certain percentage off when they do a sale twice a year. So depending on how much you spend, that will determine what kind of sale you get and for how long. So I'm at the level where you get 15% off for a few days, so I took advantage of that, and I took advantage of that, and I got something I've been really wanting for a long time, and that is this mask set from Peter Thomas Roth. It's the Maskaholic set, and you can see this guy is empty. He is the only one I've used so far. Okay, Gracie, thank you. But these are some eye patches. These are 24 karat gold, pure luxury lift and firm hydrogel eye patches. I might try those today. There's an Irish Moor mud purifying black mask, 24 karat gold, pure luxury lift and firm, and cucumber gel mask extreme detox hydrator. this was $75 before the discount, so it is a lot of money, but these masks will last me forever and ever. You don't need much, and I used like a tiny tube, like one of these little tubes. I got like 4 uses out of them. They have like a $25 set for like 4 or 5 masks, and I was using those for like 6 months, and I liked like 3 or 4 of them, several which are in this box. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it because I can get 15% off. The one I really love though is this pumpkin enzyme mask, and they do sell a full-size package of this for like $50 or $60, and I was not ready to spend that much on a single bottle of something, but for a mega pack of like 5 options, yes, I will do this. So this is like a smaller version of it. So it's 1.7 fluid ounce. You can see how big it is. It's a good size. I mean, there's still a lot of mask in there, and I've used this 4 or 5 times already, and I barely, you know, you can't even tell it's been used. So this is like a dermal resurfacing mask. It will exfoliate your skin quite extensively. It exfoliates with pumpkin enzyme, peels with alpha hydroxy acid, and polishes with aluminum oxide. And this really, you use it, you only put it on for 3 to 7 minutes, and your skin, A, it smells like pumpkin pie. B, you wash it off at the end of those 3 to 7 minutes, and it's like you got a mini facial. Your skin is so soft, it's glowing. You're only supposed to use it about twice a week, so that's what I'm doing, but it's really improved the overall texture of my skin, and I really love it. So, like I said, they sell like a mini pack of like 5 of Peter Thomas Roth as the brand, and they sell like a mini pack of 5 for like $25. So if you are, and this is one of them. So if you're interested in trying some face masks are really big right now. Highly recommend the Peter Thomas Roth set. I really like the pink one too, which did not come in this set, but it's like a rose mask, and I don't like the smell of rose, but it really made my skin look really nice. So highly recommend. On that note, my laundry is about to go off. My alarm's about to go off for the dryer to get my laundry, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thank you so much for your patience in waiting for me to return to the podcast. Thank you for the kind words. If you follow me on Instagram, so many of you reached out with nice things to say when I was going through this difficult stuff with my dad's health. It really does mean a lot, and I'm very grateful for the knitting community and all of you. So thank you for watching. I really hope to be back a lot sooner than 6 weeks. And I have, like I said, I have my friend's wedding to go to in Michigan coming up in a few weeks, and then the following weekend Josh and I are taking a little trip back to Norfolk, where we used to live for like 12 years, and the Outer Banks, which is one of our favorite spots, just for a weekend, so that'll be really fun too. So on that note, I think I'm gonna hang this up. Thank you for watching, happy stitching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!